Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the MSP Corner podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Morabiec. And we're going to shift things around today. We're going to talk about proposals and how you can make some subtle changes to help you close some bigger deals. And so the title of today's show is Why MSP Proposals Stall After Confident Sales Calls. All right, so what's on the agenda? We've got 11 topics. Oh my goodness. Got a long show here. So stay with me. Like always, we have an introduction. And we're going to be discussing the silence after the proposal. Excuse me. Why tools lists feel safe to MSPs. How buyers actually read proposals, bundled MSP plus security offers create new risk, the advisor versus vendor divide, proposal templates are not a strategy, the executive translation test, restraint signals maturity, reframing proposal silence, proposals as leadership documents, a message to MSPs who are struggling, and then a quick plug on the MSP Corner and some closing thoughts. So let me just start the show off with a short introduction. And let me say that welcome to the show. And well, today we're going to be talking about something nearly every MSP CEO has experienced. You've got confident sales calls. You got a great sales process, followed by the dreaded stalled proposal. Not pushback, not even an objection. We're talking silence. We're talking ghosts. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through why that happens, at least my theory, why it's rarely about price, and how proposals quietly undermine trust when they read like a list of tools instead of leadership decisions. And like always, we have Gregory here to reinforce what I say, or he's going to challenge it. He loves to challenge me. but we'll get his feedback because he's also collecting proposals from partners or from vendors and providers, and he has a lot of insight. So the first topic is the silence after the proposal. And let me start with the moment every MSP recognizes. So before we get deep into this, I'm going to assume you've all created your ideal client profile, your ICP is what we call it. You have a sales process, and we're going to skip all those steps during this podcast, and we're like we just jump right to the proposal. So let me get into this real. So let's get this show started. So the call goes well, meetings go well, prospect is nodding, he's happy, they agree the problems are real, and then you send the proposal. First mistake is sending the proposal, not actually getting on the well, let's just say part of your sales process is meeting with them first, and then we do all our calls on Teams because we have clients all over the world, and we can't meet with everybody in person, so we do all our calls on Teams. And after our Teams calls and after our meetings, and we've done our proposal presentation, we send the proposal. So we're at that step right now. Okay, so you send the proposal, and then you notice everything starts to slow down. That silent, that silence feels kind of personal, but it's really, you haven't been rejected, right? Nobody's said, "Oh, this sucks, send it back," or this is not going to work. So it kind of, you get a little confused. Now, most proposals don't fail because the solution you proposed is wrong. They fail because the proposal forces the buyer to interpret value instead of recognizing it immediately. And executives don't buy when they have to translate, or they're even confused, or they are left with assumptions. Now, Greg, from what you see working with MSP partners, and this could be any type of partner because you get proposals, I know you do. And so this could be software or a service provider. How often is proposal silence really about confusion rather than objections?
Mhm. If you send it to them without meeting with them, I can see where there might be confusion. But if you meet with them and they ghost you after that or slow down their response time, it has nothing to do with confusion.
Well, let's just say you didn't meet with them, because many MSPs that I talk to just immediately send the proposal. They don't. I get this a lot. I know this because I'm part of it. I get very involved with a lot of CEOs sending proposals. So I know for a fact a lot of them send it in directly. There's no meetings. So what do you think that silence is? Do you think it's really about, man, what does this really mean? What am I getting? Where there's a lot of, they might be confused. How
I
do
think
you
the price is too high.
you think it's always the price?
Absolutely. I know it's the price.
Well, what about you? How do you treat it?
I don't ghost people. I just tell them their price is too high.
Okay, so how do you know the price is too high?
Well, I mean, I look online to see what the prices are for something.
You base all your decisions based on prices online. There's no like apples to apples, and there's no like comparisons.
Well, a lot of companies just have a price point, right?
Yeah.
So and that's how everybody kind of sees it. So even if you think you're going to negotiate a price down, your price now or later or whatever, that's
Yeah.
not true. You're never going to negotiate your price. Very rarely, if anybody will come to you. Some certain personalities might be into bargaining and asking for discounts, and
Yeah.
I'll only do that if I have volume. But if I just want like 10 hours a month of service, I'm never going to go to you and say, can you lower the price on this? But if I had to get 100, 200 hours, 500 hours, I'm going to ask you for a bulk discount. But the price is 100% has to be within my range immediately for something that is like 10, 15 hours a month or a service contract, like something like that, it's all about the price. I
Got
don't even think about it. I don't
it.
even think about bartering or bargaining with anyone if it's something small.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. No, 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 I get it. I get it. Okay. All right. I think that without any doubt, everybody who's listening, you cannot, if you want to eliminate that CEO or the C-suite from guessing what you're delivering, you got to meet with them to clearly define the value you offer. And if price is a concern, you could ask them right there, is price in your budget? They're going to say yes or no. And they're going to say, because now you have showed your deck of cards. You have definitely said, hey, this is how much I'm going to charge. And he's already collected a couple of proposals, and he knows what the market rate is. You can ask him, look, are you comparing apples to apples? How do I compare to other proposals? And he might say, hey, you're in my budget, this works. Or he might want to meet with a couple more MSPs. But I definitely think that it's you got to meet with them. You cannot send a proposal without meeting them. That's a big no. Do not do it. All right, let's talk about why tool lists make CEOs at MSPs feel really safe, warm, and comfy here. Because early stage MSPs, they tend to rely on tools because tools feel like, they're tangible. They feel defensible. Listing everything feels like here's the proof in the pudding. But leadership isn't proven through inventory. It's proven through judgment. And what do I mean by that? Well, proposals lean heavily on tools. They're really trying to justify price instead of outcomes. That instinct is understandable, but it quietly shifts the MSP into vendor mode, into the for the C-suite to slap on that label, the commodity label. You do not want to be another commodity. You want to be a vendor of value. And I'm always going to stand in that position because I honestly feel that if you want an expert, you're going to pay a little bit more for an expert rather than a jack of all trades. Because an expert will know your industry inside and out. They will know all the challenges. They will know what strategies to implement so you don't have problems. So always be the one organization who delivers value, not a list of tools. That's what vendors do. So, Greg, let me ask you this. When MSP lead with tools, how does that change how buyers would perceive their authority? Do you look at it differently? Do you look at them and go, wow, these guys have great tools. They have all the sexy tools. They're worth their weight in gold. What do you got to say?
I don't look at tools as having any effect on anything unless the thing I'm looking for is the tool. So an MSP, I don't care if an MSP has whatever. I just don't care.
Yeah,
But so it doesn't affect me at all.
gotcha.
I'm
But
in the industry though, so it's hard for me to say what would affect somebody. But I never look at any tool for any reason.
gotcha. Now, let's talk about how buyers actually read proposals and see if we agree on this. But executives, well, they don't open proposals asking what software is included. They're scanning for risk, urgency, and confidence. They want to know that problem is going to be solved. It's going to be solved within, well, at least get the attention that someone is starting to solve the problem. And what if what if nothing changes, and whether the MSP understands the business impact. If the proposal doesn't answer those type of questions quickly, it will get set aside, even if the solution is strong, even if you have the best price. So, and I'm going to hit on this in a little bit, two very important components that need to be in a proposal. And you don't have to write a 15-page proposal. This could be a 5 to 8-page proposal. I've had to trim mine down because I made some major changes to it. But yeah, it's really important that you illustrate in your proposal the of how you're going to. This is under the assumption that you've done a security assessment or a network audit, and how you're going to fill those gaps, and how you're going to prevent disruptions in the future. And if they have to be compliant, what you're going to do to ensure they're compliant. Well, we're going to monitor 24/7, and we're going to run a report for you every month to say you are compliant. Now, Greg, we have tools that provide that, right? Lionfish Cybersecurity determines if an organization is HIPAA compliant or CMMC compliant, and you're pretty happy with those tools.
Yeah, they're great.
And is that, do you think that really makes a difference in when a client is asking you, oh, if you're going to keep me compliant, what tool are you going to use to ensure I'm HIPAA compliant?
No,
Do they ask they don't, right?
They don't.
They don't. They just want to know, am I going to be compliant? Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. That's what I thought. Because clients, prospective clients, they don't care what tools are in place. They just want to know that you're the expert and you're going to ensure they're compliant 24/7.
That's right.
Now, bundled MSP plus security offers create new risk. What do I mean by that? Well, bundling IT and security should simplify decisions, but sometimes, and I will admit, will overwhelm a prospect. When everything is listed without a clear narrative, the bundle feels bloated instead of like intentional, right? More services don't automatically create more confidence. Clear purpose does. If the buyer can't explain why the bundle exists as a unit, they're gonna hesitate. They're gonna question your authority. They're gonna question your expertise. So don't overwhelm these buyers. All right, that is a big no-no. Just deliver outcomes. And guys, don't, you might feel like, oh, I've been overwhelming them with, yeah, trust me, I've done it too. So, but this is something that, we're all learning. We're all mentored by other individuals who give us better guidance and different perspectives into how you should approach these new scenarios. Now, the advisor versus the vendor divide. The fastest way to lose leverage is to look what they call replaceable or interchangeable, right? Tool first proposals will invite comparison. Outcome-led proposals invite trust. It builds credibility. It builds trust. Advisors don't compete feature by feature. They define the problem and prescribe the solution. Vendors wait to be chosen. Advisors will lead. And how do they do that? We'll get to that in a bit. But Greg, in your experience, what separates MSPs that are trusted advisors from those treated like, I don't know, they're treated like they're a commodity or a vendor? Do you see the difference? Have you experienced the difference?
Yeah, absolutely, all the time. Relationships, communication level. Are you on good terms with the customer? Do you know who they are? Do they know who you are? Do they like you? Do they care about what you're providing them?
Yep.
I mean, some vendors don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, some customers don't care about their vendors.
Yep. Nope. I agree. All right. Proposal templates are not a strategy. What do I mean by that? I mean, templates, don't get me wrong, are useful. I have templates. I have lots of templates, but they're not thinking for you, right? Most proposal templates are built for reuse and protection, not persuasion. When MSPs allow templates to dictate the story, they remove their point of view. Leadership requires deciding what matters most, not showing everything possible, right? Because proposals are supposed to tell a story. A very short one about how great you are, because you do have to give like an executive summary and maybe a little blurb on the value you offer. And then you dive into, well, these are the highlights of your challenges. And these are the highlights of what happens if you don't address these challenges. Like we're talking to a maritime organization right now, and they have to be compliant by a certain date. And they're like, we need a security audit. We need this. And I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen if you don't meet this compliance? We're going to be in big trouble. Everybody has to be trained. They have to have certain tools in place. I mean, there's a long list of items they need to do. And in this proposal that we turned in, we highlighted that we remind them, if you're not compliant, this is what's going to happen. You might be shut down. So you have to remind them of some of the challenges, and also tell them their challenges they're experiencing today and how you're going to solve them. Now, the executive translation test, what does that mean? Well, here's a simple test. Could your buyer summarize your proposal in one sentence? That's a big challenge, right? If not, the proposal is too technical. Clarity beats completeness. Executives, they buy decisions, not documentation. So remember that. That's a really key piece of advice, because you want to give a proposal that clearly illustrates the value and what you're going to deliver, right?
Right.
All right. So let me go to restraint signals maturity and what that means, because not everything needs to be showed, right? Restraint signals confidence. It tells the buyers you've seen this problem before and you know what matters. Instead of over explaining that often signals uncertainty, even when the MSP is capable. So let the client speak more. All right. So and when you're providing your proposal, remember that you want to focus more on what the value you deliver and what problems you're going to solve for them, because they're going to forget why they met with you. That happens a lot. It's just part of life. They've got hundreds of problems occurring. You are a little blip in their big world. So keep that in mind. Now, reframing proposals silence. Silence off after a proposal doesn't mean that it's a dead end or that it's died. It's what we call feedback. It usually means urgency wasn't clear or leadership wasn't felt. When proposals fail to answer why now, buyers delay by default. And that's one of the things I was saying earlier during the proposal is, remember, you got to illustrate in your story as to what's going to happen if they don't make a change, right? Right now, like, okay, so we're talking to this one organization and they were like, okay, we've got security problems. We're so unhappy with the SOC. They're not responding. They're not doing their job. We're inundated with false positives. We have alert fatigue. We need a group that can silence the alert false positives. We need more better filtering of alerts, and we need better communication. And so one of the problems was they weren't getting their projects done. They're not they're missing milestones. And we framed that in the proposal. We're like, look, this is what's going to happen. This is okay. Here's your problems. This is what we're going to do to solve your problems. And this is what's going to happen if you wait. You're going to continue to get inundated with false positives. You're going to continue to miss milestones. You're going to miss your project deadlines. So illustrate that. It shows maturity. It shows that you've done this hundreds of times. Behave like it. That will illustrate that you're professionals and you know what you're doing. All right, so my last two topics here, proposals as leadership documents. So what does that mean? Well, a proposal isn't a receipt. It's what we call a leadership document. It reinforces the sales conversation, or it resets it back to Gregory's favorite topic, price. MSPs that grow learn to use proposals to lead, not explain. Proposals are meant to reinforce leadership rather than reopen negotiations. So keep that in mind on your next proposal. It's very important. Like I said, remember, you're telling them a story. This is your problem. This is what you've communicated to me. This is what I'm going to do to solve your problem. And this is what I'm going to do so you don't have problems in the future. And this is what's going to happen if you continue down this path. Try it. What's it going to hurt? Now, a message to MSPs who are struggling. If selling feels harder than it should, doesn't mean you're bad at sales. Okay, so don't beat yourself up. It usually means your thinking hasn't been translated clearly on paper. That gap is common and it's obviously fixable, but it's something we see often in mentoring conversations because clarity is something of a learned skill. So, selling value illustrated on your proposal, but I think it's really going to help. And this is, you guys got to take this to heart. It's really going to help because I've seen it work with me, that before you hit send on that proposal, you have a meeting. All right, your regular, your standard proposal that's all text and it has your pricing and all the deliverables and all that. That is a standard Word document, right? And it should be professional and it should have, all the answers to their questions in a summarized format. But before you do that, you need to create a presentation in a PowerPoint format. And that is an ultra summarized version of what you're proposing. And maybe I'll have a webinar where I illustrate or give an example of how I do things so you guys can easily copy what I do, or give a different version, or recreate it recreate it so it's your own. But you have to, it's an absolute must, a requirement. So make yourself a promise that you're no longer going to send off a proposal before meeting with the client. And when you meet with that client, you're going to give them a 3 to 4 page PowerPoint presentation. Okay. And what do I mean by that? What's in that PowerPoint presentation? First slide is going to be why they should invest in you. Let me think about how mine goes. I think mine starts off with their challenges, all their complaints that they told me about. And then We tell them the next slide is how we're going to solve all those problems. And then we illustrate the value and how we prevent problems from happening. And then it's the price. And we usually give two options, right? We give if it's a large opportunity, we usually give two options. You don't want to give them three because that confuses them. All right, let me give a quick plug on the MSP Corner. Greg, well, we're founders of an MSP, and we know the struggles many of you go through. We're on a mission to continue to create content that brings value to you, and we're developing frameworks designed to help you, to help guide you through all these challenges. Because, frameworks that these frameworks are meant to solve marketing challenges, selling value challenges. Plus, we have resources lined up so you can have cold calling campaigns, SEO vendors, PPC vendors, and much, much more. Now, today, it may have felt a little uncomfortable, and I know that some of you might feel like I'm failing or this sucks. But really, we just want to bring awareness. Growth doesn't come from selling harder. It comes from leading more clearly. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges with proposals, because you've got everything written down. You're not there to narrate and translate and interpret maybe some data that could be misinterpreted. Proposals aren't about tools or pricing. They're about confidence, judgment, and direction. And those skills are built through perspective, not hustle. Now, if this resonated, keep questioning how you present value, because that's where real growth begins. All right, guys, thanks for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member at www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.